If the ex-husband was so sure he had traded up to happiness, why did the entire room, including him, hold their breath when the woman he betrayed walked in, pregnant, on the arm of a man every billionaire wished they could be? Nobody in New York's social scene could have anticipated the shock that would ripple through the crowd on that glamorous night. The air inside the historic Goldhurst Hotel ballroom was thick with money, ambition, and the faint, nervous buzz of people who lived for headlines. Spotlights danced along the marble columns. Waiters carried trays of imported champagne, weaving between tables where some of the country's most powerful people traded sly jokes about tech stocks, IPOs, and international scandals. It was the annual Hope for Tomorrow Gala, a charity event as much about raising funds as it was about being seen, and this year, the entire city was watching. Near the center of the glittering ballroom, Liam Evans was already holding court. Just 34, Liam had built his fortune off a viral social app that made him both rich and infamous in Silicon Valley, and he loved nothing more than an audience. His tuxedo was crisp, his hair artfully tousled, but the real star of the night, at least in his mind, was the woman on his arm. Kaya Blair, his new fiancée, was a phenomenon all her own. She was a former waitress who'd reinvented herself as an Instagram model, racking up millions of followers with her platinum blonde hair, carefully curated wardrobe, and an uncanny ability to make everything, her morning coffee, her designer shoes, even her cats, look expensive. She was younger than Liam by almost a decade, tall and dazzling, and the world couldn't get enough of her. Or so Liam believed. That's why tonight, Liam had decided to make their engagement public in the boldest way possible. The whole room was whispering about it. Some guests even claimed he'd already tipped off TMZ, making sure every camera was pointed their way. Kaya relished the attention, snapping selfies with starlets and influencers, blowing exaggerated kisses at anyone who recognized her. Her gold dress, backless and slit nearly to her hip, sparkled under the chandeliers. Whenever she laughed, Liam would squeeze her hand, grinning as if to say, "Look what I've got now." But while the world was watching them, another story was about to begin at the very same event, one that would upend every rumor, headline, and assumption that night. At precisely 8:26 p.m., the orchestra paused between songs. For a brief moment, the only sound in the room was the soft hum of conversation. And then, the grand double doors at the back of the ballroom swung open, letting in a flood of cold night air. And all at once, every head in the room turned to look. Standing in the doorway was a woman nobody expected to see. It was Anna Morgan, Liam's ex-wife. She was 6 months pregnant, her hand resting protectively on her growing belly. There was a glow to her skin, but even more striking was the calm, quiet confidence in her eyes. A look that said she knew exactly who she was and didn't care who else noticed. But that wasn't what sent the real shock through the crowd. It was the man standing beside her, holding her arm as if she were precious, as if he was proud just to be seen with her. Nathaniel Drake. For the uninitiated, Nathaniel was the most elusive billionaire in New York. He owned half the private jets at Teterboro, held silent stakes in dozens of startups, and was whispered to have more influence in tech and finance than any one CEO. He never came to events like this. He avoided cameras, declined interviews, and according to legend, only appeared in public for 2 reasons: philanthropy or the rare person he genuinely cared about. Tonight, it was Anna. Cameras that had been pointed at Kaya and Liam turned in unison, clicking furiously as Anna and Nathaniel entered the room together. Guests craned their necks, whispering frantically. Kaya's smile faltered. Even Liam, usually so cocky, looked like he'd been punched in the gut. Anna was a vision of grace. Her dress, midnight blue silk, fit her pregnant form perfectly. The style was elegant, understated, nothing like the flashy skin-bearing look Kaya wore, but somehow 100 times more powerful. She walked with her head held high, not seeking anyone's approval, not shrinking from the stares and whispers. Nathaniel, tall and impossibly handsome in his tailored suit, offered her his arm with a soft smile. When he leaned down to say something, Anna's eyes sparkled with laughter. A private joke, a moment just for them. The chemistry was unmistakable. Anyone watching could see this wasn't a casual date or a business connection. This was the arrival of a power couple. 100 cell phones recorded the scene as Anna and Nathaniel began moving through the room. greeting people Anna once called friends, and some who had deserted her after her marriage ended. People who'd pitied her, even mocked her, now found themselves scrambling for her attention, desperate to catch Nathaniel's eye. The energy had shifted, and every social climber in the room knew it. Kaya tried to act unfazed, but her grip on Liam's arm tightened. She whispered something sharp, her lips barely moving. Liam stared after Anna, jaw clenched, and for the first time all night he seemed completely lost. What made the moment electric wasn't just the return of the discarded wife, it was the sense that Anna was no longer a victim. She wasn't here to cause a scene or beg for attention. She had changed, leveled up, and the most powerful man in the city wanted the world to see it. The rest of the night would unravel in ways nobody could have guessed. But as Anna caught Kaya's gaze from across the ballroom, she smiled, a real, knowing, almost forgiving smile. In that moment, it became clear. Whatever drama the night held, Anna was ready. The story was hers now. Most of the guests at the Hope for Tomorrow gala only knew Anna Morgan as the ex. The plain, forgettable woman who'd lost her millionaire husband to a social media star. But behind every viral headline, there's a story nobody bothered to read. Tonight, Anna wasn't here for gossip. Tonight, she'd come to show the world who she truly was. Anna was 28, but her journey had felt like several lifetimes. She grew up in a quiet town in rural Iowa, the eldest of 3 daughters, learning responsibility from an early age. Her father worked nights at the mill, her mother cleaned houses. Money was always tight, but Anna's home was filled with laughter and warmth. She was the dependable one, the girl people counted on to organize bake sales and babysit neighbors' kids. If she dreamed of something bigger, she kept it to herself. She earned a scholarship to a state university, where she studied education and developed a knack for making order out of chaos. Anna wanted to teach, to make a difference, to offer kids what she'd never had, opportunity. But life changed the day she met Liam Evans. He was 2 years older, magnetic, and brimming with ideas. He'd grown up in foster care, bouncing from home to home, always hustling. He was the first person who made Anna feel seen, not for what she could do for others, but for who she was inside. They bonded over late-night coffees, walks across campus, and big, impossible dreams. When Liam's first app took off, everything happened fast. He moved to New York. Anna followed after graduation, eager to start their new life together. The city was overwhelming, noisy, expensive, and cutthroat, but with Liam by her side, Anna thought she could handle anything. For a few years she did. Liam's business success brought money, fame, and new pressures. Anna found work as a substitute teacher, then as a program coordinator for a children's charity. She kept their apartment running, organized Liam's schedule, and supported his ambitions, no matter how wild. She was the invisible hand making his world run smoothly, even as his circle grew to include investors, influencers, and people who treated her like an afterthought. But Anna never chased status. Her style was simple: soft sweaters, thrifted dresses, ballet flats. She preferred quiet dinners to celebrity-packed parties, heartfelt conversations to social media likes. In photos, she stood a little behind Liam, letting him shine. It worked, until it didn't. Liam changed. The more he achieved, the more restless he became. He worked late, spent weekends networking, always hunting for the next big thing. Anna tried to keep up, but the gulf between their worlds widened. She missed the boy who used to draw cartoons on napkins and dance with her in their kitchen. Now he seemed addicted to validation, especially the kind that came from strangers. She noticed the little things first: late-night texts from unknown numbers, unexplained absences, receipts for dinners at places she'd never been. Liam always had excuses. Anna trusted him, until one night she came home early and found Kaya Blair in her apartment. Kaya, the Instagram sensation, was everything Anna was not. Tall, sharp-featured, impossible to ignore. She wore confidence like a weapon, and Anna felt invisible next to her. Liam, caught, didn't apologize. He just looked at Anna, cold and tired, and said, "I can't do this anymore. Kaya understands me. She gets this world." Anna packed a suitcase and left that night, her heart in pieces. She refused to fight for someone who didn't want her. The next morning, every tabloid in New York ran the story. Tech millionaire dumps plain Jane wife for rising social media star. Anna became clickbait. The sad, abandoned ex. She shut off her phone, called her mother, and cried until there were no tears left. But Anna was tougher than she looked. She found a tiny apartment in Queens, went back to teaching part-time, and started rebuilding her life. When she discovered she was pregnant, she was terrified but determined. She wouldn't let her child grow up in chaos. She went to every doctor's appointment alone, decorated the nursery herself, and learned to advocate for her needs. The world saw Anna as weak. She saw herself as a survivor. The months that followed were hard. Lawyers called about the divorce. Reporters knocked on her door. Strangers sent hateful messages or offered pity. Anna ignored them all. Instead, she threw herself into work and self-care. She journaled. She meditated. She walked in the park every morning, hands on her belly, whispering promises to her unborn child. You will be loved. You will never have to wonder if you're enough. Slowly, Anna found her voice. She set boundaries with Liam, who tried to win her sympathy with half-hearted texts and apologies. She refused his offers of hush money, insisting on a fair settlement and nothing more. When her friends urged her to fight dirty, Anna held her head high. I want my child to be proud of me, she'd say. I won't stoop to their level. The biggest change, though, came from within. Anna realized her value wasn't tied to any man's opinion or to public perception. She'd survived heartbreak and humiliation and still gotten up every morning, ready to fight for herself and her baby. Now, standing in the ballroom beside Nathaniel Drake, Anna felt something she hadn't felt in months. Genuine hope. The crowd could gossip all they wanted. She knew her worth, and as she caught sight of her reflection in a gold-framed mirror, a woman with strength, grace, and a fierce love for her child, Anna finally saw what everyone else would soon learn. She was nobody's afterthought. She was the heroine of her own story. There are events that define a season in Manhattan, and the Hope for Tomorrow Gala was one of them. For weeks, the city's elite had buzzed with anticipation. Their invitations displayed like trophies. It was more than a charity event. It was a power summit, a red carpet for the real influencers, the founders, the venture capitalists, the old money philanthropists, the new money disruptors, the celebrities, and the gatekeepers who watched from the shadows. The venue, Goldhurst Hotel, was chosen for its history. A monument to success and secrets, with marble floors polished to a blinding shine and ceilings painted with gilded cherubs who seemed to smirk at the drama unfolding beneath them. Anna had never imagined she'd walk into this world again. When she was still Mrs. Liam Evans, she'd always stood on the sidelines, clutching a sparkling water and listening to conversations she barely understood. Back then, she felt invisible, an ornament meant to smile politely and disappear when the real deals went down. Now, as she stepped through the doors on Nathaniel Drake's arm, all eyes snapped to her. She was not the same woman. The first thing Anna noticed was the sound, a constant ripple of voices, laughter, and the metallic chime of glasses. She could feel the stares, some curious, some hostile, others hungry for a story to tell. There was a chill in the air that had nothing to do with the February weather outside. This was a room where reputations were made and destroyed in a single night. The room itself was a spectacle, gold and crystal everywhere, floral arrangements so large they looked like living sculptures, an orchestra in the corner playing jazz standards. At the center of it all, a massive stage with the charity's logo projected in silver light. Anna felt Nathaniel's reassuring presence at her side as they crossed the floor. People she barely knew before, the wives of hedge fund managers, PR executives, up-and-coming actors, suddenly found excuses to approach her, all eager smiles and too loud greetings. Anna, you look amazing. Is that a designer gown? Who's your plus one? Oh my God, Anna, I haven't seen you since, well, since before. Their curiosity was ravenous, but Anna had learned how to protect herself. She answered politely, deflecting questions about her pregnancy, about Liam, about what she was doing here. When she introduced Nathaniel, the effect was immediate. Conversation stopped mid-sentence, faces stiffened in shock, and more than one phone slipped under a table to text the news. Anna's here, with him. Nathaniel Drake was nothing like Liam. He didn't posture or perform. He nodded politely, shook hands, and made it clear through the smallest gestures, holding Anna's chair, listening intently as she spoke, that his attention was fully on her. If anyone doubted that Anna belonged, Nathaniel's presence erased it. The rumors began spreading within minutes. Some thought he'd hired her. Others whispered about a secret romance. Nobody guessed the truth. Nathaniel was here because he wanted to be, and Anna was here because she had nothing left to fear. Across the room, Liam was sweating. He'd planned every detail of tonight. The timing, the angle for their public announcement, even the hashtags that would trend once he and Kaya were photographed for the society pages. But now, his ex-wife had walked in with the one man he couldn't compete with. Not in wealth, power, or reputation. Kaya, sensing the shift, pulled him close for a kiss just as the first photographers began snapping pictures. But the real story was unfolding behind them. The night's program moved forward, oblivious to the personal drama. Waiters served amuse-bouches so delicate they looked like jewelry, and the charity's founder gave a passionate speech about educational access. Anna listened, genuinely moved. She knew what it was to fight for opportunities. Meanwhile, Nathaniel whispered witty commentary that made her laugh and relax for the first time in weeks. A highlight of the night was the charity auction. Rare art, celebrity experiences, and private jet getaways went to the highest bidders. When Nathaniel won an art lesson with a famous painter, bidding triple the starting price, the audience applauded, not realizing he'd only done it because Anna had mentioned her love of art on one of their earlier coffee dates. Kaya tried to upstage Anna several times, strutting around the room in her shimmering gold dress, grabbing the microphone during a group photo, and even live streaming on Instagram. But every time, people glanced over her shoulder, hoping to catch a glimpse of Anna and Nathaniel. It was subtle, but in the world of the powerful, attention is currency. And Anna was suddenly very rich. At one point, Anna stepped out onto the terrace for some fresh air. The city sparkled below, endless and full of possibility. She leaned on the railing, her hand resting on her belly, and let the night's cold air clear her head. Nathaniel joined her, offering his jacket without a word. "Are you all right?" he asked quietly. She nodded. "I never thought I'd come back to this world. I thought I'd left it behind for good." Nathaniel looked at her, his eyes kind. "You don't have to prove anything, Anna. You're already stronger than any of them." For a long moment, Anna believed him. She realized she wasn't here for revenge or validation. She was here to show her child and herself that she could face anything and not just survive, but thrive. As they returned to the ballroom, the tension reached a fever pitch. The next act of the evening would begin with a confrontation no one would forget. A moment when the real power of a woman who refused to be broken would be revealed to everyone. If the Hope for Tomorrow gala was a chessboard, Liam Evans had always thought of himself as the king. Tonight, though, it was clear he'd become the pawn. As he glanced around the ballroom, watching the way everyone's attention had shifted to Anna and Nathaniel, a knot of envy twisted in his stomach. He'd imagined this night so differently. Himself at the center, his new fiancée on his arm, the cameras celebrating their love story. But now, every click of a camera felt like a hammer on his ego. The humiliation was almost physical. Liam had not always been cruel. In college, he was just hungry for stability, for success, for love. He grew up in a string of foster homes, each one colder than the last, forced to learn early that nothing was permanent, and trust could be a weapon. By the time he was 20, Liam had sworn to himself he'd never be powerless again. When he met Anna, she was the only person who made him feel grounded. She believed in him even when he doubted himself. For years, she was his anchor, his secret weapon. But as his company grew and the money rolled in, Liam's old fears returned. He saw threats everywhere. Investors who wanted to oust him, friends who envied him, even Anna's quiet strength became something to resent. Instead of leaning on her, he pulled away, convincing himself that vulnerability was weakness, and that love, like everything else, was transactional. Kaya Blair appeared just when Liam's insecurities were at their peak. She was nothing like Anna. Kaya was lightning in a bottle, volatile, attention-grabbing, and shameless about what she wanted. She built her entire persona on desire, likes, and the envy of others. Their affair began as a distraction and soon spiraled out of control. Kaya gave Liam the validation he craved, but never the security he truly needed. She made him feel wanted, on her terms. Kaya, for her part, was no victim. She was as ambitious as Liam, maybe more. Her rise from obscurity to influencer status had been calculated, every post and relationship curated for maximum clout. When she set her sights on Liam, she saw not just a lover, but a ticket into the world of serious wealth and power. She didn't care about Anna. If anything, Anna's existence was just another obstacle to be overcome. Tonight was supposed to be Kaya's victory lap. She was here to claim her prize, to cement her place among the elite. But when Anna arrived, the old script burned in Kaya's hand. For the first time, she realized that followers and designer dresses couldn't buy real respect. As the evening's formal program ended, a reporter from a major fashion magazine cornered Kaya and Liam for an interview. Kaya immediately launched into her practiced speech about empowering women to own their narrative, her hand on Liam's arm. But the reporter's gaze kept drifting across the room to Anna and Nathaniel. "Kaya, how does it feel to step into the spotlight tonight?" the reporter asked, barely disguising her boredom. Kaya smiled, her voice smooth. "I'm just happy to support a great cause and to be with someone who appreciates me for who I am." Liam nodded, though his jaw was clenched. "We're starting a new chapter, together." But the reporter had already turned away, her eyes lighting up as she watched Anna laughing with the mayor and the billionaire. It was then that Anna and Nathaniel, arm in arm, approached. The air seemed to chill. Kaya's lips curled into a smirk, but Anna met her gaze with an expression of pure composure, almost pity. "Liam," Anna said quietly, "congratulations on your engagement." Liam tried to muster a smile. "Thank you. I hope you're well." Anna nodded. "I am, actually. Better than I've been in a long time." She glanced at Nathaniel, who smiled and squeezed her hand gently. Kaya couldn't help herself. "It must be hard, Anna, coming to these events alone, but you look comfortable." Anna's reply was simple but devastating. "I'm never alone." The words hit harder than any insult. Nathaniel, never one for public drama, looked Kaya in the eyes and said, "Anna's earned her peace." Sometimes people don't realize what they've lost until it's too late. Kaya bristled, but there was nothing more to say. Anna and Nathaniel moved on, leaving Kaya and Liam standing in the shadows of their own ambitions. Liam tried to shake it off, but the facade was cracking. For years, he'd told himself he deserved more than Anna, someone who understood the spotlight, who made him feel powerful. But as he watched Anna, radiant and self-assured, he realized what he'd thrown away was irreplaceable. The jealousy that surged through him was raw and ugly. He saw it mirrored in Kaya's eyes, resentment that tonight wasn't hers after all. The rest of the evening passed in a blur. Kaya tried desperately to regain attention, posing for selfies, laughing too loudly, whispering gossipy tidbits to anyone who'd listen. Liam moved through the crowd like a ghost, haunted by his own choices. Every time he looked at Anna, he felt the weight of his mistakes. In a final, desperate move, Kaya convinced Liam to join her on the dance floor, just as the orchestra played a dramatic waltz. But as they spun beneath the chandeliers, nobody was watching them. All eyes were still on Anna and Nathaniel, who shared a private, tender moment at the edge of the room. For the first time, Kaya realized that being seen wasn't the same as being respected. And Liam, staring at Anna across the dance floor, finally understood that real love can't be replaced by applause. There are moments that freeze time, and Anna would remember hers forever. 6 months earlier, before the world saw her as a survivor, she'd been blindsided by the kind of betrayal that changes everything. She was still living in Liam's penthouse, still dreaming of nursery colors and baby names, and still foolish enough to believe her marriage could be saved. The signs had been there. Late nights, secret phone calls, a perfume that didn't belong to her. But she chose hope over suspicion, just as she always had. The night Anna's life shattered started like any other. She'd made Liam's favorite dinner, hopeful he'd come home early for once. She was setting the table when his key turned in the lock, and she felt a flutter of hope. Maybe, she thought, tonight will be the night he finally sees me again. Instead, Kaya Blair walked through the door first, trailing laughter and the scent of high-end cologne. Anna froze, heart hammering in her chest. Kaya paused, arching a brow with a little smirk. "Hey, didn't realize you'd be home," she said, her tone flat and casual, as if Anna were a nuisance rather than the woman who wore the wedding ring. Liam followed, his expression a mix of embarrassment and irritation. "Anna, I thought we agreed." "Agreed on what?" Anna whispered, hands trembling. Liam glanced at Kaya, then back at his wife. "It's over, Anna. We're over. I'm tired of pretending." Kaya rolled her eyes, flopping onto the couch and pulling out her phone to document the moment on social media. Anna felt the ground shift under her feet. You brought her here?" Kaya didn't even look up from her screen. "Sweetheart, he brought me everywhere. I guess you just never noticed." The humiliation was complete. Anna packed a bag in silence, tears streaming down her face. Liam didn't stop her. Kaya hummed to herself, snapping a selfie as Anna slipped out the door. The city lights blurred through her tears. She walked the empty streets, feeling smaller with every step, clutching her belly and whispering apologies to her unborn child. That night, Anna checked into a cheap hotel, paid in cash, and shut off her phone. The tabloids learned of her exit before her closest friends did. Headlines blared, "Billionaire's wife dumped for Instastar." Anna Evans flees after husband's public affair. She became clickbait, a cautionary tale, the pathetic ex. Her inbox filled with messages, some cruel, some pitying, none comforting. Anna considered running home to Iowa, disappearing completely. Instead, she chose to stay and face the storm. The public fallout was swift and brutal. Reporters staked out her building, hoping for a quote or a breakdown. People she barely knew offered empty condolences at her gym, her grocery store, even at the OBGYN's office. Anna felt raw and exposed, her life dissected by strangers who had no idea what she was enduring. Liam and Kaya, meanwhile, made their relationship a spectacle. Paparazzi followed them on vacations, to red carpets, even to brunch. Kaya posted photos of herself in Anna's old kitchen, wearing Anna's old robe, captioned with cryptic little digs, "Upgrading my mornings." Liam played along, reposting and laughing, acting as though none of it mattered. The final blow came at a high-profile charity auction a few weeks later, just before Anna's pregnancy became public. She'd been invited as a guest of her old friend, hoping to quietly slip in and support a cause she cared about. She wore a simple dress, her hair in a loose braid, hoping not to attract attention. But Kaya spotted her almost immediately, strutting over with a group of influencers in tow. The cameras followed, hungry for confrontation. "Oh my God, Anna!" Kaya called loudly, drawing every eye in the room. "Is that the same dress from last season? You're so vintage." Laughter erupted around her. Anna flushed, but forced a smile. "It's comfortable. I prefer substance to trends." Kaya wasn't finished. "You should join us for a selfie. People love a good comeback story." The sneer in her voice was unmistakable. Anna hesitated, then shook her head. "No thanks, Kaya. Some stories don't need an audience." The exchange was caught on camera, shared, and memed across the internet. Overnight, Anna became the symbol of quiet suffering until the next scandal came along and pushed her from the headlines. But humiliation has a way of hardening resolve. Anna vowed she would never let herself be defined by the cruelty of others, not for her child's sake or her own. She went to therapy, found support among women who'd been through the same thing, and started to imagine a new future, one where she wasn't anyone's victim. As the months passed, Anna refused to hide. She returned to teaching, to community work, and to the small joys that made life worth living. When she finally re-emerged at the gala, she walked in not as the scorned wife, but as a woman transformed by heartbreak and determined never to let public shame dictate her worth again. Tonight, as Anna glanced across the ballroom and caught Kaya's eye, she saw not a rival, but a mirror reflecting her own resilience. The world could watch, mock and judge, but Anna had survived the worst. The rest of her story, she decided, would be written on her own terms. The city's spring thaw brought with it a sense of renewal, but for Anna, real change was blossoming inside. While she found herself adapting to life as a single mother-to-be, it was the connection she'd made with Nathaniel Drake, the billionaire philanthropist, that would set her destiny on a new path. If Liam and Kaya represented everything fake and fleeting, Nathaniel was the opposite. Quiet, stable, and deeply real. At first, Anna thought Nathaniel's interest in her was purely professional. He'd reached out after a board meeting at the children's charity where Anna worked part-time. His foundation was seeking a director for a citywide literacy project, and Anna, with her background in education and nonprofit work, seemed the ideal candidate. She nearly turned down the interview, too bruised from public scrutiny to imagine she could start over. But Nathaniel persisted. Respectfully, never pushy, until Anna agreed to meet for coffee at a discreet little cafe far from the city's prying eyes. Their first conversation felt like oxygen. Nathaniel didn't ask about Liam or the tabloids. He wanted to know about Anna, her childhood, her goals, the work she cared about. He asked about her baby, not as a footnote but with genuine interest. Anna found herself opening up, telling him things she hadn't told anyone, not even her family. Nathaniel listened, really listened, never interrupting or offering empty reassurances. As weeks passed, their meetings became regular. Sometimes it was business, discussing project proposals, grant applications, or the struggles of local schools. Other times it was just two people finding comfort in each other's company. Anna started to look forward to these afternoons. Nathaniel was brilliant, but never condescending, a man who commanded boardrooms but never made her feel small. Then, one rainy Friday, the twist arrived. Anna had been summoned to a dinner meeting with Nathaniel and a few other board members. She expected a formal evening, but instead found herself at Nathaniel's private penthouse, the city lights glimmering through floor-to-ceiling windows. The other guests were delayed, so Nathaniel and Anna shared appetizers alone. Conversation drifted from work to life, to the past, to dreams. Nathaniel revealed a secret Anna had never imagined. Years ago, when he was still a nobody, fresh out of grad school, he'd met her. Anna didn't remember. She was running a college volunteer day at a children's shelter, and Nathaniel was a guest speaker, awkward and shy, giving away free books to kids. Anna had thanked him, given him coffee, and told him she believed in his idea to change the world through literacy. "You probably don't remember," he said with a shy smile. "But you were the first person in this city who was ever genuinely kind to me." Anna was stunned. It was a piece of her past she'd almost forgotten. But Nathaniel hadn't forgotten her. He'd quietly followed her career ever since. He'd seen the headlines about her fall, watched as she picked herself up, and admired her refusal to give up on her principles, even when the world mocked her for it. That night, something shifted. Nathaniel admitted he'd offered her the job not out of pity, but because he respected her integrity, her strength, her belief in something bigger than herself. "You don't owe me anything," he said. "I just want to help you build the future you deserve, for you and your child. If you want this project, it's yours. But even if you say no, I hope we can be friends." Anna was overwhelmed. The offer was real, but the respect behind it, the acknowledgement of her struggle, meant more than any paycheck ever could. It was the beginning of a new chapter. From then on, Anna's life took on new momentum. She threw herself into the work, developing innovative programs, recruiting volunteers, and reaching out to schools all over the city. With Nathaniel's mentorship and support, her confidence grew. He never tried to overshadow her. Instead, he amplified her voice, connecting her to donors and city officials who actually listened. But their connection deepened in quieter moments. They shared dinners after long workdays, walks in the park where Anna confided her fears about motherhood, her anxieties about the future. Nathaniel, who had no family of his own, confessed that he admired her courage and envied her hope. Rumors swirled in Manhattan, of course. When Anna was photographed leaving Nathaniel's car, social media exploded. But for once, Anna didn't care what people thought. She had nothing to hide. The city could speculate all it wanted. She knew the truth. For the first time since her marriage ended, Anna felt not just respected, but safe, seen, cherished. She never imagined she'd find love again, but that wasn't the twist. The real surprise was discovering a strength inside herself, a resilience forged in fire, now tempered by possibility. By the time the next gala rolled around, Anna was no longer the woman who'd been left behind. She was a leader, a mother-to-be, and the trusted partner of a man who valued her for her heart, not her headlines. In a world obsessed with image, Anna had found the one thing that couldn't be staged: a new beginning, built on truth. The city's spring thaw brought with it a sense of renewal. But for Anna, real change was blossoming inside. While she found herself adapting to life as a single mother-to-be, it was the connection she'd made with Nathaniel Drake, the billionaire philanthropist, that would set her destiny on a new path. If Liam and Kaya represented everything fake and fleeting, Nathaniel was the opposite. Quiet, stable, and deeply real. At first, Anna thought Nathaniel's interest in her was purely professional. He'd reached out after a board meeting at the children's charity where Anna worked part-time. His foundation was seeking a director for a citywide literacy project, and Anna, with her background in education and nonprofit work, seemed the ideal candidate. She nearly turned down the interview, too bruised from public scrutiny to imagine she could start over. But Nathaniel persisted, respectfully, never pushy, until Anna agreed to meet for coffee at a discreet little cafe, far from the city's prying eyes. Their first conversation felt like oxygen. Nathaniel didn't ask about Liam or the tabloids. He wanted to know about Anna, her childhood, her goals, the work she cared about. He asked about her baby, not as a footnote, but with genuine interest. Anna found herself opening up, telling him things she hadn't told anyone, not even her family. Nathaniel listened, really listened, never interrupting or offering empty reassurances. As weeks passed, their meetings became regular. Sometimes it was business, discussing project proposals, grant applications, or the struggles of local schools. Other times it was just two people finding comfort in each other's company. Anna started to look forward to these afternoons. Nathaniel was brilliant, but never condescending, a man who commanded boardrooms, but never made her feel small. Then, one rainy Friday, the twist arrived. Anna had been summoned to a dinner meeting with Nathaniel and a few other board members. She expected a formal evening, but instead found herself at Nathaniel's private penthouse, the city lights glimmering through floor-to-ceiling windows. The other guests were delayed, so Nathaniel and Anna shared appetizers alone. Conversation drifted from work to life, to the past, to dreams. Nathaniel revealed a secret Anna had never imagined. Years ago, when he was still a nobody, fresh out of grad school, he'd met her. Anna didn't remember. She was running a college volunteer day at a children's shelter, and Nathaniel was a guest speaker, awkward and shy, giving away free books to kids. Anna had thanked him, given him coffee, and told him she believed in his idea to change the world through literacy. "You probably don't remember," he said with a shy smile, "but you were the first person in this city who was ever genuinely kind to me." Anna was stunned. It was a piece of her past she'd almost forgotten. But Nathaniel hadn't forgotten her. He'd quietly followed her career ever since. He'd seen the headlines about her fall, watched as she picked herself up, and admired her refusal to give up on her principles, even when the world mocked her for it. That night, something shifted. Nathaniel admitted he'd offered her the job not out of pity, but because he respected her integrity, her strength, her belief in something bigger than herself. "You don't owe me anything," he said. "I just want to help you build the future you deserve, for you and your child. If you want this project, it's yours. But even if you say no, I hope we can be friends." Anna was overwhelmed. The offer was real, but the respect behind it, the acknowledgement of her struggle, meant more than any paycheck ever could. It was the beginning of a new chapter. From then on, Anna's life took on new momentum. She threw herself into the work, developing innovative programs, recruiting volunteers, and reaching out to schools all over the city. With Nathaniel's mentorship and support, her confidence grew. He never tried to overshadow her. Instead, he amplified her voice, connecting her to donors and city officials who actually listened. But their connection deepened in quieter moments. They shared dinners after long workdays, walks in the park where Anna confided her fears about motherhood, her anxieties about the future. Nathaniel, who had no family of his own, confessed that he admired her courage and envied her hope. Rumors swirled in Manhattan, of course. When Anna was photographed leaving Nathaniel's car, social media exploded. But for once, Anna didn't care what people thought. She had nothing to hide. The city could speculate all it wanted. She knew the truth. For the first time since her marriage ended, Anna felt not just respected, but safe, seen, cherished. She never imagined she'd find love again, but that wasn't the twist. The real surprise was discovering a strength inside herself, a resilience forged in fire, now tempered by possibility. By the time the next gala rolled around, Anna was no longer the woman who'd been left behind. She was a leader, a mother-to-be, and the trusted partner of a man who valued her for her heart, not her headlines. In a world obsessed with image, Anna had found the one thing that couldn't be staged, a new beginning, built on truth. Spring edged into summer, and with it came a visible transformation. To the outside world, Anna's journey looked almost miraculous. one of those viral glow-up stories that rack up millions of likes. But to Anna, it was something far deeper and more meaningful. It wasn't just her style or her public image that changed. It was her spirit, her sense of self, her certainty that she'd never let anyone diminish her worth again. Nathaniel's respect and encouragement gave Anna the space to rediscover herself. She no longer measured her value by what others thought or what Liam and Kaya posted online. She began to dress for herself, no longer hiding in plain baggy sweaters, but choosing elegant, bold colors and silhouettes that made her feel powerful. She swapped out soft shoes for sharp heels, styled her hair into a sleek bob, and wore subtle makeup that accentuated her fierce, determined eyes. Her glow wasn't about revenge. It was about stepping into the light and owning every inch of her story. Work became Anna's passion project. The literacy initiative she led for Nathaniel's foundation was making headlines across the city, not for its celebrity donors, but for its impact. Under her leadership, hundreds of kids gained access to books, reading mentors, and after-school programs. City officials praised Anna's work ethic and her heart. For the first time in her life, Anna felt indispensable, not just to a partner, but to a community. Her days were packed. Strategy meetings, school visits, late-night calls with volunteers. Her evenings belonged to herself and the baby. Long, quiet walks in the park, favorite music on the speakers, sometimes a dinner with Nathaniel. If their relationship was growing beyond friendship, neither rushed it. There was something healing about the slow, gentle pace, about building trust one day at a time. People began to notice. Friends who once pitied Anna now sought her advice, wanting to know how she'd managed to thrive after such public heartbreak. Even old acquaintances who had sided with Liam during the scandal reached out, offering awkward apologies or asking for professional connections. Anna was polite but distant. She had learned the hard way that not everyone deserved a seat at her table. As her due date approached, Anna's confidence soared. She posed for a magazine profile, not about her failed marriage, but about her work and her hope for the future. The photos were radiant. Anna, glowing, hand on her belly, standing beside bookshelves stacked with the stories she'd once used to escape. The article went viral, shifting public perception almost overnight. The world stopped seeing her as a victim. She became an example of grace under fire, proof that starting over was possible. Liam, seeing Anna's name in headlines for all the right reasons, tried to reach out. He sent apologetic texts, left awkward voicemails, even had flowers delivered to her office. Anna ignored them all. She had no interest in reopening wounds that had already healed. Kaya, too, attempted to provoke her on social media, but Anna never responded. The old version of herself might have engaged, but the new Anna didn't need validation from anyone living on likes and envy. The true moment of transformation, however, wasn't broadcast or photographed. It came late one evening when Anna received a surprise visitor. Her mother, who'd flown in from Iowa after seeing her daughter's magazine cover. They sat together in Anna's cozy apartment, sharing tea and quiet tears. "I barely recognize you," her mother said, pride softening every word. "Not because you're different, but because you're finally yourself." Anna smiled, the compliment settling deep in her bones. "I never thought I'd get here. I thought the worst thing in my life would be the thing that defined me forever." Her mother shook her head. "Sometimes, what breaks us open is the only thing that lets the light in." The next morning, Anna woke early, feeling the baby's gentle kicks, and looked in the mirror. She saw a woman transformed. Not by a man, not by money, but by sheer resilience and determination. Soon after, she received an invitation to the next Hope for Tomorrow gala, the very same event where her humiliation had played out for the world to see. This time, Anna accepted, not out of obligation or defiance, but because she knew she deserved to be there. She wasn't afraid of the whispers or the cameras anymore. On the night of the gala, Anna made her entrance in a tailored white gown that accentuated her pregnant form. Simple diamond studs in her ears, her hair glossy and loose. Nathaniel arrived at her side, his admiration for her obvious. As they walked into the ballroom, the crowd parted, not out of pity but respect. All eyes were on Anna, but for the first time, she didn't shrink from the attention. She glided through conversations with ease, offering wisdom, encouragement, and genuine smiles. When city officials toasted her achievements, Anna accepted with grace, her head held high. Even Kaya and Liam, standing in the corner, couldn't compete. Their envy was palpable, their star beginning to fade. Anna knew this was just the beginning. Her life and her babies would be defined not by scandal, but by strength and compassion. She'd become the kind of woman she'd always admired, self-made, generous, and unbreakable. The city and the world saw her for who she truly was, and so did Anna. If the old Anna had ever wanted revenge, she might have imagined something dramatic. A slap across a crowded ballroom, a viral takedown, or a screaming match that finally put her pain on display. But the new Anna, standing at the threshold of the Hope for Tomorrow gala once more, understood something deeper. Real revenge wasn't about humiliation. It was about rising so high above your enemies that they became irrelevant. And on this night, in front of everyone who'd ever whispered behind her back, Anna was ready to soar. The buzz in the ballroom was electric, the kind reserved for nights when the balance of power might visibly shift. Anna's entrance with Nathaniel had already sent shockwaves through the crowd, but what followed was something nobody, not even Anna, could have planned. The first sign came as the gala's keynote speaker, a celebrated philanthropist, suddenly called Anna up to the stage. Cameras flashed as she stood beneath the golden lights, visibly pregnant, radiant in her white gown and undeniably in command of herself. For a split second, Anna flashed back to the last time she'd been here, hiding in the shadows, the subject of pity and scorn. Now applause rolled over her, genuine and warm. The speaker introduced her as the woman behind the literacy movement that's changing the city. Anna spoke for a few minutes about the importance of resilience, community, and the way books had saved her as a child. She didn't mention Liam or Kaya by name. She didn't need to. The whole room knew her story. Her grace and determination were the only response that mattered. As Anna left the stage, city officials, business leaders, and even celebrities sought her out. Each new handshake chipped away at the old narrative. She was no longer the discarded wife. She was the future. Nathaniel watched her with quiet pride, stepping back so she could shine. He introduced Anna to guests who mattered most: powerful CEOs, politicians, even foreign dignitaries. Each person who shook her hand saw her not as someone attached to a scandal, but as a force in her own right. And yet, in the corner, Kaya and Liam watched with increasing desperation. Kaya's earlier confidence had faded. Her Instagram stories, once the center of attention, were ignored. Her gold dress, chosen to outshine Anna, now seemed gaudy and out of place. Liam, always hungry for validation, tried to mingle with former supporters, but found himself constantly glancing over at Anna, regret tightening his features. At one point, Kaya could stand it no longer. She marched up to Anna during a quiet moment by the refreshments table, her voice just loud enough for others to hear. "Enjoying your little comeback?" she sneered, forcing a smile. "It must be nice to have people care again." Anna met her gaze, calm and collected. "It's nice to be surrounded by real friends, not just fans," she replied. "I hope you find that someday, Kaya." Kaya scoffed, trying to hide her embarrassment. "Careful, Anna. People love a comeback, but they love a new scandal even more." Anna shook her head gently. "That might have scared me before, not anymore. I'm not here for drama, Kaya. I'm here to help people, and to set an example for my child. I hope you'll do the same with your platform." The crowd around them, sensing the tension, turned their attention to Anna. Instead of taking the bait, she offered Kaya a genuine smile, then turned to greet a group of young women, hoping for career advice. In that moment, Anna became untouchable. Kaya's power faded, Anna's grew. Liam, meanwhile, tried to catch Anna alone. He finally intercepted her as she made her way toward Nathaniel. His voice was low, desperate. "Anna, wait, please. I made mistakes. I was stupid. I see that now." Anna looked at him for a long moment. Once she would have melted under his gaze, but not now. "We all make mistakes, Liam. The difference is whether we learn from them. I wish you well, but I've moved on. You should too." Nathaniel approached, placing a gentle hand on Anna's back, a silent gesture of protection and support. Liam read the message loud and clear. The door to Anna's life was closed to him, forever. Word of the exchange spread quickly. The story circulating wasn't about Anna's heartbreak or victimhood, but about her refusal to be pulled back into old patterns. She was the headline now. Anna Morgan's triumph, from betrayed to beloved. Her face was on every social feed, but this time as a role model, not as a spectacle. As the gala drew to a close, Anna and Nathaniel stood together on the terrace, looking out at the city skyline. For the first time in a long time, Anna felt at peace. "You were incredible tonight," Nathaniel said softly. Anna smiled, tears glistening in her eyes. "I did it for me, and for my baby. I never thought I'd get here." Nathaniel squeezed her hand. "You deserve all of this, Anna, and so much more." Inside, Kaya and Liam faded into the background. Outside, Anna's star was just beginning to rise. The greatest revenge, Anna realized, was never about getting even. It was about becoming so powerful, so happy, so true to yourself, that the people who tried to destroy you are forced to watch you shine. The final song of the gala faded into the night, but Anna's story was only beginning. For years, she had let her life be written by others, by Liam's ambitions, by Kaya's games, by the world's appetite for gossip and spectacle. Now, Anna was in command of her narrative, and she was determined to use her voice for something bigger than personal vindication. In her heart, she knew that her journey had the power to inspire not just herself, but anyone who had ever felt small or forgotten. As the last guests trickled from the ballroom, Anna lingered on the terrace overlooking the city. Nathaniel joined her, his presence steady, his pride unmistakable. The world was at their feet, but Anna's gaze drifted upward, toward the endless sky. For the first time in ages, she felt the weight of the past slip away, replaced by hope, excitement, and an unshakable sense of purpose. A handful of journalists waited by the exit, hungry for a final quote. One asked, "Anna, what would you say to other women who've been betrayed or left behind?" Anna thought for a moment. "No one's life is over because of a mistake, yours or someone else's," she said. "You're not defined by who leaves you, who betrays you, or how the world talks about you. Every ending is a chance to write a new story, and it's never too late to become your own hero." Her words spread across social media like wildfire. Within hours, the hashtag news story trended worldwide. Women from every corner of the globe, executives, students, mothers, dreamers, shared their own moments of heartbreak and rebirth. Anna's inbox overflowed with messages of gratitude. "You gave me courage. You helped me believe again. If you can do it, so can I." But it wasn't just online. In the weeks that followed, Anna launched a new initiative, a citywide women's empowerment project that partnered with shelters, schools, and businesses. The goal was simple: to help women reclaim their power, build their skills, and create opportunities no matter their history. Anna spoke at city halls, universities, even on morning talk shows. Each time, she told the truth. Your past can hurt, but it can't hold you back unless you let it. Nathaniel remained by her side, not as her savior, but as her equal. He offered resources, encouragement, and love. But Anna led the way. She became a mentor to young women, sharing not just her victories but her hardest moments. The nights she cried herself to sleep, the mornings she doubted she could go on. Her authenticity, more than her triumphs, was what made her a beacon. Liam and Kaya faded quietly from public life. Liam's business struggled without Anna's steady influence. Kaya, once the queen of curated online life, found her audience moving on, seeking authenticity over artifice. Sometimes, Anna caught glimpses of them in society columns or passing news, but she felt nothing but a distant sense of closure. They had been part of her story, but they no longer had power over her future. The true transformation, though, was personal. Anna's baby arrived on a clear, golden morning, a perfect, healthy daughter with her mother's eyes. As Anna held her for the first time, she felt every sacrifice, every night of pain, and every ounce of courage crystallize into love so fierce it made her tremble. She named her Hope. Motherhood brought its own challenges and sleepless nights, but Anna met them with the same resilience she'd earned through heartbreak. When Hope cried, Anna sang lullabies of strength and possibility. When Hope smiled, Anna remembered what it meant to be pure, to start again, to trust the future. Nathaniel became a loving, gentle presence in both their lives. But Anna made a promise: "I will never let another person define who I am, not even the people I love." I want Hope to know that her mother fought for her happiness, her dignity, and her dreams. That's the greatest gift I can give her. As the years passed, Anna's work flourished. Her foundation helped thousands of women find jobs, return to school, and leave toxic situations behind. She became a sought-after speaker, not for her celebrity, but for her wisdom and honesty. Each time she took the stage, Anna saw her former self in the faces of the audience, worried, uncertain, but waiting for a sign that survival was possible. To every woman, Anna offered the same message. You are not weak because you hurt. You are not broken because someone left you. And you are never ever powerless. The world may try to write your story for you, but you hold the pen. Anna's legacy was not about revenge or even redemption. It was about empowerment. The city, the media, and even her past admirers now respected her, not just as a survivor, but as a creator, a leader, a mother. A woman whose greatest glory was not in the pain she endured, but in the hope she built for herself and others. Her final words in a televised interview became a rallying cry. To every woman who thinks her story is over, stand up. The world isn't done with you. Your real story is just beginning. Anna smiled, her daughter Hope in her arms, the city alive beneath her feet. She knew she had finally become the woman she'd always dreamed of being, not just for herself, but for every woman still waiting for her own new beginning. So the story has ended, and our wonderful friends, are you still here with us right now? If you've stayed until the very end, I truly believe it's because something in Anna's journey touched your heart in a real way. Her story isn't just about betrayal or revenge. It's about the deep truth that no one, not an ex, not the crowd, not even a mistake, can decide your value or your future. Life will break us open, sometimes in the most public and painful ways. But as Anna showed, sometimes what breaks us open is the only thing that lets the light in. That's the spirit of heterodox wisdom. Healing is not about erasing pain, but finding meaning in it. You hold the pen to your own story. Please, if this message resonates with you, leave a comment, share your thoughts, and subscribe to the channel so more people can find strength and healing from stories like this. Like, share, and don't forget to hit that subscribe button. You never know who might need to hear this next.